So here you have to think in mind that is concept. It is just like a physics and other chapters you have learned as a concept. So here there is no concept. So this is the thing already present in the body and we are learning from that. So only we are understanding that, nothing else we are doing. So here only that is only thing that is already present. The different types of tissues are already present in living things. Our aim in this chapter, learning this chapter, that means our aim is to know those. So knowing part is there only. So you have to remember it by continuous learning it. You have to remember all those things. The different types of tissues, their locations where they found, and what are their structures. Plant tissues separately and animal tissues separately. You have to learn their characteristics. And actually you have to learn them by differentiating points. According to differentiating points, you have to learn those. Okay, so we will start with one by one. So tissues, what are tissues actually? What do you mean by tissues? What do you mean by tissues?
A group of cells performing specific function.
Yes, group of cells performing a specific function are considered as a tissues. One second. Keep your book in front of you. NCERT book. Get the NCERT book. Keep one pencil or highlighter. Okay. We'll learn line by line this chapter. Why I told you at the same time I told you to read the chapter NCERT. So NCERT line by line you should know. So here, from the last chapter, we recall all living organisms are made up of cells. In unicellular organisms, a single cell performs all basic functions. For example, a amoeba in single cell carries out movement, intake of food, gases exchange, and excretion. But in multicellular organisms, there are millions of cells. Most of these cells are specialized to carry out specific functions. Each specialized function is taken up by a different group of cells. Since these cells carry out only a particular function, they do it very efficiently. In human beings, muscle cells contract and relax to cause movement. Nerve cells, different functions of the different cells. According to that, the structure of a cells you have seen. But in that also, there are the similar types of a cells have been combined, or maybe a different types of a cell has been combined, and all of them perform a particular function. So all that group of cells, similar or dissimilar cells, performing same functions are called as tissues. So that is only they have tried to explain in this paragraph. So everyone's is function. So underline this one. So what is the function of muscle cells? In human beings, the muscle cells contract and relax to cause movement. That is a muscle cells function. Nerve cells carry messages. Blood flows to transport oxygen, food, hormones, waste materials, and so on. In plants, vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem, conduct food and water from one part of the plant to the other part. So multicellular organisms show division of labor. So now here division of labor, underline this. Cells specializing in one function are often grouped together in the body. This means that a particular function is carried out by cluster of cells in a definite place in the body. This cluster of cells called a tissue. is arranged and designed so as to give a highest possible efficiency of functions. Blood, phloem, muscles are all examples of tissues. So here, this is the definition of tissue. A group of cells that are similar in structure and or work together to achieve a particular function forms a tissue. So underline this. This is the definition of tissue. What's the function?
But it is not similar structure, no? Sometimes.
What it is given here? And or.
Oh, similar structure or work together. Okay.
Yes, work together to achieve a particular function. Are plants and animals made up of same tissues, same types of tissues? As compared to their structure and function, do plants and animals have the same structure? Do you think?
Um,
There are noticeable differences between the two. Plants are stationary or fixed. They don't move since they have to be upright. They have a large quantity of supportive tissues. The supportive tissue generally has dead cells. So now this is the part of plants. Plants are stationary or fixed. They can be stationary and they are fixed actually. Their position is fixed. So that means there is the thing needed, the important fact needed, that is the support. They need a support. They have to stand still in different conditions, whether it is uh, wind is blowing with a high speed, rain is there, a thunderstorm is there, everything they have to stand still, upright always. So that kind of a strength is needed. They need more strength. So they have the tissues which provide more strength. So here, that is the difference here. They don't move since they have to be upright. They have a large quantity of supportive tissue. So they need a support. So supportive tissues, rigid tissues, stronger tissues are needed. So the supportive tissue generally has dead cells. So most of the plant cells have dead cells. The supportive part which provides support are dead. Okay. So animals on the hand move around in search of food, mates and shelter. They consume more energy as compared to plants. So most of the tissue they contain are living. This is the reason why the structure of tissues in plants and structure of tissues in animals are completely different. So underline these two paragraphs. Okay, underline.
Yes, ma'am.
Another difference between animals and plants is it in the pattern of growth. The growth in plants is limited to a certain region. While this is not so in animals, there are some tissues in plants that will divide throughout their year, throughout their life. These tissues are localized in certain regions. Based on the dividing capacity of the tissues, various plant tissues can be classified as growing or meristematic tissues and permanent tissues. Cells grow in animal is more uniform. Cell growth in animals is more uniform. It won't happen that is one part is growing more and one part is growing less. In animals that won't happen. Uniform growth will be seen in animals, but in the plants we can't say. Plants can grow from any of the directions, and whatever it is not needed, that is exactly the branch which is moving towards right. The exactly equal quantity, equal sized branch should be developed on the left hand side. That won't happen. There is a growth in any directions. That will not be any specific. That means it should be grow this much strength or that much level. That should not be. Height is managed. This depends on the heights. They have been divided, classified again. So after some days, this height is managed. Apart from that, beyond that, they won't grow further. But it is not uniformity. In plants, we cannot see uniformity. Animals, the uniformity is there. So cells grow in animals, growth in animals is more uniform. So there is no such demarcation of dividing or non-dividing regions in animals. So some part is dividing and some part is not dividing. That won't happen. Everything uniform growth will be seen at some particular age that growth will be seen, and after that it is stunted. Then it is stops after some days. So these are the 2 points have been given. Then the structural organization of organ system is far more specialized and localized in complex animals than even in very complex plants. This fundamental difference reflects the different modes of life pursued by the 2 major groups of organisms, plants and animals. So complexity of organs in complex animals is more as compared to complex plants. The structure what we see in a smaller plant and the bigger plant is somewhat exactly similar, but in animals it is different. The simpler animal and the complex animal, the organs, the structure of an organ, the evolution of that organ, the development of that organ is completely different. If you see the example in respiratory organs in fishes and respiratory organ in humans, are they same?
No, ma'am.
They are not same. Respiratory organ in rose bushes and the respiratory organ in mango trees, are they different?
Yes, ma'am.
Are they different? Respiration in rose and mango plant, are they different?
Respiration. No,
Respiration,
ma'am.
respiration
No, no,
happening
ma'am.
in small short bushes, grasses, or even a very tall trees, are they different?
No, ma'am.
That's not happen. Is there respiration? So that means here what? The respiratory organs, but in a, you can, if you take the example of animals, they are completely different. So this is a one more difference is there. So complex animals is organ structure of organs, organ system is completely different, is far more specialized and localized in complex animals. But even in very complex plants it will be there. But the normal plants, the structure will not be so different. The structure
Ma'am,
is exactly same.
what is complex animal or complex plant?
Complex animal, that means a higher animal, higher order animals, just like humans.
Such as?
Humans. The
Oh,
structure in our body is much more complex as compared to the structure in lizards. You can consider structure in small animals. You can see
okay.
fishes. You can take example. Frogs. You can take example. Birds also. They are different.
Okay.
So we are more complex as compared to those animals. Even in, if you take example of butterfly, the structure of butterfly, structure of fishes are completely different from each other. Are they anyhow? Are they simpler? Same?
No, ma'am.
No. The simple animals, you can consider example of worms, earthworm, then cockroaches, small insects we can consider those when you compare with the fishes, when you compare with the frogs, when you compare with the birds, when you compare with the mammals. The structure of those organisms and these organisms are completely different from each other. They do not have, some of the plants, animals do not have organs. A single organ is also not present. They have only cells, they have only tissues. So there are some worms, they have only tissue, they are made up of tissues only, they don't have any organs. So
Okay.
here also, in case of butterflies, you take example of insects, if you take, they don't also have any organs. So their structure, and the higher order, that means the chordates, that is fishes you can consider, frogs you can consider, the reptiles you can take a consideration, birds and mammals, that is humans. The structure is completely different. These we call as advanced complex organisms. Humans are considered to be a most complex organism. Mammals, actually. Humans are come under mammals. So mammals are complex organisms. So there is a need to study the tissues present in plants and present in animals separately. Okay. It is with the reference to the complex animals and plant bodies that we will now talk about the concept of tissues in some details. So what are tissues? So mainly three things you need to know from every tissue, types of a tissues. One thing, its location, where they found. Second thing, its structure. And the third thing, its main function. So for every tissue, if you write this in columns, then and you have to remember that part. Location, structure, function. Clear? Okay, so one by one, plant tissues, mainly plant tissues. First part is growing tissues and non-growing tissues. So plants, we have to see this, we have to differentiate them into growing tissues, and the second one is non-growing tissues, that is permanent tissues. So growing tissues, the name, special name is given for them is meristematic tissues. Meristematic meaning itself growing, dividing, continuously dividing. Meristematic, that means continuously dividing tissues. Okay, so in the growing tissues, continuously dividing tissues, we will get the example. This is only one type, that is meristematic. We all of them we call as meristematic tissues. And the second one is permanent tissues. So this you have to remember, this differentiation. One. So here, not connected. One second, I think so I'm not connected. So here, plant tissues. In that here, dividing and non-dividing. Dividing means meristematic. tissues, and non-dividing means permanent tissues. Okay. So in this one, meristematic, there is no bifurcation other than its types. Types of meristematic tissues. What are the types of meristematic tissues? What are the three types of meristematic tissues? Apical,
Lateral.
lateral,
Lateral and intercalary.
intercalary. So these are the three different types of meristematic tissues. Permanent tissues are again further divided into simple permanent,
Complex
and
permanent.
complex permanent. So in simple permanent, what are the types we'll get? It is given.
Parenchyma,
Yes.
Florenchyma, and
Parenchyma.
Parenchyma and sclerenchyma. These are the three simple permanent tissues. Simple permanent tissues because they are made up of single types of cells. So there is no separation. So all are single types of cells. And complex permanent tissues, these are
xylem and phloem.
xylem, phloem. And in this itself, you have to learn cork also, cork and epidermis. Complex permanent tissues, this one, cork cells, cork tissue and epidermis will also come under complex permanent. And in that the vessels also we will get, that is xylem and phloem vessels. Okay, so one by one you have to remember the characteristics, their positions and their functions you have to learn. So here these position on this one, this meristematic tissues, that means they are continuously growing tissues, continuously they keep on dividing. Those part is completely continuously growing. So therefore that's the reason they are called as meristematic tissues. Always ask question for 3 marks. Explain meristematic tissues with diagram. So you can draw this flow chart. Then you can remember actual path. Is what exactly there we are landing up.
Should we draw this?
Yes, draw that one. This flow diagram draw.
Ma'am, in the separate book.
Yeah, in that biology book only, where
Okay,
you have written biology notes there itself.
What, ma'am?
Where you written biology notes there itself, write it down.
we have already drawn this table.
This table already done. Then it's good. Well and good. Okay. So here itself. Growth of roots in uneven bulbs. These meristematic tissues now, where do you think these meristematic tissues are available? These are continuously dividing. So which part of the plant you see continuously growing? Which parts?
The tip of the plant.
The shoot of every part and roots. Shoot part is growing, or the roots are growing, or the branches are growing. So every branches shoot tip of the shoot. So there these are present. Okay. So here the activity to check the growth of the roots. So why the roots grow. Take 2 glass jars, fill them with water. Now take 2 onion bulbs and place them on each jar. As shown in figure. Observe the growth of roots in both the bulbs for a few days. Measure the length of roots on day 1, day 2, day 3. On day 4, cut the root tips of the onion bulbs in jar 2 by about 1 centimeter. After this, observe the growth of the root in both the jars and measure their lengths each day for 5 more days and record the observation in this table. So once you have cut out, and then again you have to check out. So what will you think? What will happen?
Ma'am, can I?
Yes.
Grow again.
At the end of day 5, both the roots will be same. The length of both.
No, how it is possible?
Because there'll be some limit for the root growth. So the first one in which the roots are not cut, it'll stop at some limit, and the second one will continue because it is cut. So its limit is still there, so it will be continuously growing. It will
So
grow
when
till its
you
limit.
cut out the end parts, that means meristematic tissues you cut already. So no meristematic tissues are present, so it won't grow further.
Oh,
Okay, so when you cut out the tips, so that means you have already cut out the meristematic cell tissues in that area. So no meristematic tissues to grow further. From the above observation, answer the following questions. Which of the onion has longer roots and why? Whose roots are not cut out? Do the roots continue growing even after we have removed their tips? No, we don't. Why would the tips stop growing in jar 2 after we cut them? Because the cells which are responsible for division and forming the new parts are unavailable. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear? The growth of the plants occur only in certain specific regions. This is because the dividing tissue, also known as meristematic tissues, is located only at these points. That is shoot tip, root tip. These are present only at the shoot tip and the root tips, and near the nodes where the branches starts growing from the plant. Near the girth region, there these are present. So there only due to that presence of this meristematic tissues only the plants will start growing. Depending on the region where they are present, meristematic tissues are classified as apical, lateral, and intercalary. New cells produced by meristem are initially like those of meristem itself, which are similar to original cells. But as they grow and mature, their characteristics slowly change and they become differentiated as a components of other tissues. So initially they all are look like the same, but after some time, depending on their complexity, the place they are grown, they will get differentiated and become distinctive.
when they'll become permanent tissues.
After that, they will become permanent. Yes, right. So here this diagram and positions of the uh, tissues is important. So this diagram and this explanation is asked for 3 marks. So this diagram you have to remember, write down there beside. Diagram important. Apical meristem which is present at the tip of the roots or shoots. So shoot tip is have the cells called as apical meristem, which keep it growing more and more longer. Here intercalary. Intercalary are present near the nodes. Wherever the nodes are present. Nodes, that means from where the leaves will grow, from where the different branches will grow. That area, the intercalary meristems are present. If you see the which tree, this one, rose, the stalk of the rose, have you seen?
Yes, ma'am.
You have seen some junctions between the rose plant stalk. The stem of the, if you see the stem of the rose plant, so here are some knots are there, like this some areas are there. So it is thick knot-like structures are there. So these parts, so it is if you check out properly, you will see those cutouts here like this. The markings are there. These are called nodes. So from this nodes, any branch will grow only from this one only, this nodes only. Any branch wants to grow, it will grow from this area only, and then it will start bearing leaf like this. So these areas are called as nodes. So intercalary meristem are present at these nodes.
Unlike in sugarcane, we can see these lines, but
Yes, very clearly you can see in the sugar canes. Okay. Even if you see the trees of this coconut tree, there are also bands you can see. So those bands are actually the nodes. So that is intercalary.
okay.
And then this is lateral meristem. So apical meristem increase the growth height of the stem Intercalary is responsible for growth of branches or leaves. And the lateral meristem, they are present in the girth region, so stem region, the inner part of the stem. So initially when you start planting any plant, you have planted any plant. So at that time it's same. In the initial time, the stem is very thin, but as its time goes, then what happens? The stem will start become thicker, 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 more thicker. So thickness increases. That means the strength of that plant is increased by lateral meristem. So lateral meristems are present, which increases the size of the girth. Same size will be increased. So apical meristem is present at the growing tips of stems and roots and increases the length of the stem and the root. So underline, this is a function of apical meristem. The girth of the stem or root increases due to lateral meristem. So these are the lateral meristem. The girth or this girth of the stem or a root. Root also, it is initially thinner, then it will start becoming more thicker. So that thickness increases due to presence of lateral meristem. And then intercalary meristem seen in some plants is located near the nodes. And this helps in formation of cells of meristematic tissues. They have not given about this.
And that you have to underline now.
Yeah, this is here to underline the different functions. What are meristematic tissues? Write the question beside there. It is always asked question. What are meristematic tissues? What is its function? Explain the 3 types of meristematic tissues. Explain the function of position and function of 3 meristematic tissues. Most commonly asked question. 99% chances are there. The cells of meristematic tissues are very active. They have dense cytoplasm, characteristic of these meristematic. They have more amount of cytoplasm. Thin cellulose. Cellulose is less. Cellulose walls and prominent nuclei. Nucleus should be prominent. More amount of protein it should have because it has to keep on dividing continuously. They lack vacuoles. So these are the characteristics. So you have to remember all these things. These are very active. Dense cytoplasm. Cellulose walls are thin. Prominent nuclei. So this was question asked for assertion reason last year. They don't have vacuoles. So there is no use of vacuoles because these are continuously dividing. Okay, clear? These characteristics of meristematic tissues you have to remember. They are very active because they have to keep on dividing continuously. They have more amount of cytoplasm because they need to divide. After dividing, the cytoplasm should be divided into the next cell also. So that means it should accommodate, a single cell will accommodate the cytoplasm for both the tissues, both the cells. Because after dividing, the new tissues, new cell should have cytoplasm. So it will come from the first one. They have cell wall, cellulose wall. So that is outer wall that is a cell wall which is made up of cellulose. It's thin. It's thin. And prominent nuclei. The nucleus is very prominent because it is only giving an instruction when to divide and when not to divide. And they lack vacuoles. That means they do not have vacuoles because there is no need of vacuole there. So space is reduced. Is that clear? Is this clear?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
That permanent tissues. What happens to the cell formed by meristematic tissues? They take up the specific role and lose the ability to divide. After some days, they will lose the ability to divide. They do not divide further. As a result, they form a permanent tissue. This process of taking up a permanent shape, size, and the function is called differentiation. Differentiation leads to the development of various types of permanent tissues. Different types of permanent tissues. So different, they have given the example of all of them together. Activity to check the organisms, that's it. A few layers of cells beneath the epidermis are generally simple permanent tissues. Parenchyma is most common simple permanent tissue. It consists of relatively unspecialized cells with thin cell walls. So they have cells, unspecialized cells they have, but they have thin cell wall. They are living tissue cells. They are usually loosely arranged, thus large spaces between the cells. So they have intercellular spaces, very large amount of intercellular spaces because they have been not packed together. So there is no packing structure will be seen in parenchyma. They are very loosely arranged, thus large spaces between cells are found in this tissue. Large spaces between the cell, that is intracellular spaces, are found in this tissue. This tissue generally stores food. Parenchyma's main function is to store food. In some cases, it also consists of chlorophyll. It also contains chlorophyll and perform photosynthesis. And then it is called chlorenchyma. Sorry, chlorenchyma, right? It's cholenchyma and chlorenchyma. Both are different. So remember by proper practicing. Chlorenchyma, chlorophyll, chlor will come from chlorophyll, chloroplast. So some of the parenchymas are also called as chlorenchyma because it helps in the aquatic plants. So chlorophylls are perform photosynthesis, then it is called as, it contains chlorophyll. Some of the parenchyma contains chlorophyll and perform the photosynthesis process, then it is called as chlorenchyma. In our water plants, aquatic plants, there are some types of special types of this parenchymas are present, which helps them to float because they have the inner pressure is more, so pressure can be maintained. So those such type of a parenchyma are called as aerenchyma. So those tissues consist of more amount of water, which helps the plant to float over water. So those are called as aerenchyma. Underline this. Give me 2 minutes. Okay. Then about the parenchymas, what are the points you will write for parenchymas? What are the points you will write for parenchyma? Yes, anyone?
They have intercellular spaces.
They have more intercellular spaces.
They generally store food,
Generally
and some
store.
situation they contain food. It has thin walls, cell walls.
It consists of thin-walled living cell.
Thin wall living cells, right?
Parenchyma containing chlorophyll are called chlorenchyma,
Yes, right.
and containing air are called aerenchyma.
It fills the space between other tissues.
It fills the cells between the other tissues. Okay. These points you have to remember on this part. Parenchyma clear?
Yes, sir.
Then cholenchyma, not chlorenchyma, it's cholenchyma. Cholenchyma provides the flexibility. So when you, in a tree, when you drag any of the branches, pull down any of the branch, what will happen? Does it immediately break?
No,
No, ma'am.
What will happen then? What will happen?
after when we leave it, it will go back.
It will go back.
won't grow.
That means it is flexible. We can call it as a flexible.
Yes, ma'am.
So without applying more force, means when we are applying a lesser amount of force, we only are able to bend it. With the help of wind, the plants uh, completely move down, means it is moved down or bent. But again, when the this one stops, wind stops, thunderstorm stops, at that time again the plants come back to its original position without breaking. So that means bending the parts of the plant or providing the flexibility to the parts of the plants. The types of a tissue responsible is called as cholenchyma. It allows bending of various parts of the plants like tendrils, the stems of climbers, without breaking. So tendrils will move upward with a support. So they have some stem-like structures, which we call as tendrils. They support themselves on the any support. That is, it may be a rod, it may be a thread, string, or any other plant. So they will start moving, curling over those plants or over the support. That is due to the presence of cholenchyma. It provides mechanical support. We can find these tissues in leaf stalks below the epidermis. We can find that tissue in leaf stalks below the epidermis. The cells of these tissues are living, elongated, and irregularly thickened. The thickening will not be same. So whenever the two, this one will. What I was talking about. It provides the mechanical support. It's actually without bending, any plant will remain constant. Whenever the wind, a very high speed wind also blows, at that time also the plant will not break. That is due to the presence of cholenchyma tissues. We can find these tissues in the leaf stalks below the epidermis. What is epidermis? What is epidermis?
Outermost layer of
Outermost protective covering of the entire plant.
Outermost protective layer of entire plants. When you see the leaf, the upper part and the lower part, so that means here leaf stalks below the epidermis near the stalk. What is stalk means? Stalk of a leaf means? Leaf stalk means what? So this is a tree. Here it is this part, and then from here this one grows, leaf grows. These are vents. So in this one, this part by which the leaf is attached to the plant branches is called stalk. So they are present in this stalk region. So when you try to bend it also, immediately it won't break. So that is due to presence of collenchyma tissues present in that. These cells are living, elongated and irregularly thickened at the corners. So at the corners, you can see here diagram. In this diagram, you can see this thickening. The thickening because they have to provide the flexibility. So that flexibility they can provide, not because thickness should not be everywhere. Otherwise, that cell cannot be flexible. That part will not be flexible. So this is irregular thickening. The parts where it may break, so that area it is thickened more. So due to which the part will not break. Clear? So these are the structures of collenchyma. So these tissues are living, they are living cells, elongated, the length is more, irregularly thickened. So that means the thickening is present at the corners, This is and there is a very little intercellular space. In parenchyma, there are more spaces. In the collenchyma, the space is very less. Okay, you can see this is parenchyma, this is collenchyma. This is sclerenchyma, upper part, and here the side part. Yet another type of permanent tissues. Wait a second, there is much more noise this side. Okay, let's read this one. I'm not getting what I'm telling you. It's much more noise this side. Okay. Not construction is going on. Sorry. Now the third part is sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is dead tissues. So these two are, this one and this one are living. And this sclerenchyma is dead. These are dead tissues. Okay. You have to remember you have to make your own notes from this chapter. You have to write the position of that structure of that particular cell, where they are present, and what is its function. Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Plant tissues, there is no much problem with the animal tissues. Even I face a problem while teaching also sometimes. Okay, and then it is last one is sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma, third permanent tissue is sclerenchyma. It is the tissue which makes the plant hard and stiff. Stiffness is in the plants due to the presence of sclerenchymas. We have seen the husk of coconut tree underlined. This is a function. We have seen the husk of coconut. So husk of coconut, the outer part of the coconut. It is made up of sclerenchymatous tissues. The cells of the tissues are dead. They are long, narrow, as the walls are thickened due to lignin. This is a structure. They are long, they are narrow, that means a thinner, but the longer ones. They are thickened due to lignin. Lignin is one of the chemical which is they are made up of. The wall is made up of. Often these cells are so thick that there is no internal space inside the cell. Now, what is the what is the differentiating points from in all these things? Here there is more space. They are very loosely packed. These are not loosely packed and thickened at the corners, and here no space left out. They are so thick, that is, there is no intercellular space. Intercellular space is negligible. That is no intercellular space. Here it is more, here is somewhat less, and here completely less. That is least one. No internal space inside the cell. This tissue is present in stems around vascular bundles to provide them mechanical support.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, it is written that, ma'am, is it written that due to lignin, means it is lignified walls, so inside for cytoplasm there is no space, so it is dead?
No, not because of lignin. Lignin is present outside, and but the thickness is so much that is there is no space left out inside.
So cytoplasm, it's not enough space for that.
Cytoplasm is not there, no, it is dead.
Yeah.
So cytoplasm itself is not there.
I
Nucleus is
thought
not there.
cytoplasm was there, and because of the thickening, it is dead now.
No. Cytoplasm is they're dead. That means it is nothing there inside the cell. Dead tissues don't have any cellular part. Cellular organelles are completely absent. This tissue is present where they are present. Now location. Location is stem around the vascular bundles, in the veins of leaves and the hard coverings of seed and nut. It provides, and the function is, it provides the strength. And the function is to provide strength. Clear? Understand this part? Can you make your own notes? Sir already has given everything. So go through that, or if you want, you can make your own notes. So what is important part here?
Its function.
I'm like the three factors.
3 factors for every tissues you should know. One is
Structure,
its structure, how it's
Function.
what it is, the spaces, intermolecular spaces, intercellular spaces. Is there any extra function? Any walls, different types of walls? It may have the intercellular spaces between
Ma'am,
them.
where it is located?
So first is the structure.
location.
Then second one is location, function. First, what is its function? By knowing the function, you will get to know its location also.
Yes, ma'am.
If you see the this is also leaf. If you see, there are the vents you can see. So vents are somewhat thread-like structures. When you remove that part, the parts of different green part of the plant, if you remove, and if you try to see only vents, so near that vents are actually the thicker thread-like structures, which looks like exactly looks like similar to that of husk of coconut, because it is made up of sclerenchyma. Jute fiber, whatever it is used for jute clothes or jute bags. So what that jute is? Those small threads of jute, what is it?
There's sclerenchyma.
That is a long sclerenchymatous tissues. It is sclerenchyma only. Clear? The husk is separated. Then it is husk. When you remove the husk of a coconut, where it goes? The dry husk. When you bring a coconut, you remove that outer covering. upper part. So what we bring, what we eat before this one is breaking it, it is removed completely. So outer part, have you seen the outer part of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Above part is green, but inside that green part,
Yes, ma'am.
those thread-like structures, what they do, they first start spinning them. So spinning, that means they will start separating all the threads. They keep on moving them as they are, this different processes are there. By that way, each thread, each tissue is separated from each other. So each sclerenchymatic thread is separated. And then they have been further binded together in a proper manner. They bind it together to make that jute ropes. Okay, coir. For the coconut, coir is made. COIR, coir is made from the coconut. Those are actually the sclerenchymatous tissues only.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, when the coconut is dried up, it'll be brown, no, ma'am. It's dead, dead tissue, ma'am. That.
Yeah, dead tissue, outer dead tissue only.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, yeah, like if we take some coconut, there will be many hairs or
Yeah,
fibers.
that hair only. It is a
They are
sclerenchymal that hair.
sclerenchyma. And the dried coconut which we get in the market, that is also separated from one more hard cover.
Yeah. So
That is also sclerenchyma, I guess.
it is the coconut's different parts of the coconut seed. Let me show you.
Yes.
Yeah, 3, 4 layers you can consider. Yeah, open the Google page itself. You are able to see. Now you can see this is the part. It is taken. Are you able to see in the right hand side?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
What is it? This is a green
Yes, ma'am.
covering. After that, this is a green covering, right? Inside that, here is a one brown husk. So this is the brown part. You can see this is this brown part you are able to see here.
Yes, ma'am.
The brownish part. So when you remove this green coating, there is a brown coating you can see. So that brown coating is actually the sclerenchymas.
Oh,
So this brown part which we remove, generally this one, it is used in puja. Without here, generally whatever we for eating, whatever we are taking it, eating part, this means in housework, kitchen work, whatever for food purpose, what we are bringing, that is complete outer covering is removed. All the thread like structures has been removed, hair like structures has been removed, and then this is what you get in the market right now. But before this, there is a one more brown covering is present. Inside green, there is a brown covering. That are sclerenchyma. This part you can see here, this part. Are you able to see this part?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So that brown covering is actually the this
Yeah.
sclerenchyma. So this is what is thread. So somewhat thread left out. After that remove also, this somewhat thread-like structures left out. So these are all sclerenchymas. Clear? So this is after removal of that brown covering. Now this is a hard. Again inside that this white part is there. So that we use for eating purpose. This inner part, this is a fruit actually. So this part we use it to eat. Clear?
yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the removed part. This threads. These are sclerenchymatic threads. Sclerenchyma. These are the only cells. So that's threads. So which we remove the inner part. When you remove these thread-like structures, they will separate it out. So from this the jute they make the jute. The jute threads are there; those are made from this. Jutes are also the different types of. This one is present. Fiber, jute fiber is like this. These are the jute fibers. From this is jute fiber, which is made from different plant. This is not from this one, coconut. Coconut fiber is different, and this fiber is different. This is from the jute plant. It is available here. It is a jute plant. This is the jute one. This plant is jute. The outer covering of that is the outer covering. So from this jute we will get it. This jute is different, and for coconut what you get, that is different. So this is the removed part. From that part here, this is the part outer covering which we throw out. So that from that part they will make these types of threads. They woven, that can be woven, spin and woven together to form this bigger ropes. These ropes have been made. These ropes, if you can see, similar to that of jute, but they are not jute. Jute is different and the coconut fibers are different. So these one thicker ones, you can recognize immediately. The jute ones are thinner, and this one coconut fiber ones are thicker ones. Generally, foot mat we will make it from this. Foot mats are made from this. So you can see here clearly the covering, this covering, this covering. Are you able to see this? This is what from this this one is made. What you call coir is made. Here it is made like this. See here, this is used up. It's clear. So this is
Yes, ma'am.
these are the ropes can be made from that sclerenchyma. This is sclerenchyma itself. Okay. So understood meristematic tissues and permanent tissues, simple permanent tissues.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So in this epidermis and this one also placed under this case only. Now here epidermis. So we will take in next class epidermis, cork, and the simple this complex permanent tissue, xylem and phloem we will study in the next class. It's already 4:10. We need to start maths.